If you run a website, then you know that speed is one of the most important ranking factor for the Google. So if your website is loading slow, then you must configure your website to load it faster. For example, like hosting your website on a quality web host, or using content delivery network CDNs and much more. But if you are on WordPress, then you are in luck, because there is a plugin called WP Rocket that can elevate your WordPress website speed. And not that only, but it will improve your core web vital from the negative to the positive. Yes, so I've been using WP Rocket from past 2 to 3 years, and it does amaze me with the update it gives, and it does amaze with the features it gives only under one plugin. You don't need multiple plugins to actually create or improve your website for the loading speed. So we are moving forward to the 5G network, and it's normal right now. And if your page loads slow for such devices, and it may irritate the user out there, or maybe a potential customer. So for that, if you're using a WordPress, then keep watching this video. You will know how to speed up your website using WP Rocket plugin, and how to configure WP Rocket plugin in this video. So if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please hit that red button. It will boost our morale to post more and more videos like this. So let's get started. So this is dashboard. As you can see, the WP Rocket plugin is disabled, just to let you know how it actually improve my blog. If you are new to my channel, then you must know that /blog is hosted on the WordPress. So other than that is all about the custom script. So what you can do is, here, go to the page speed.web.dev. Now here I have run the page test on my blog section, where I use WP Rocket plugin, and I've disabled it. As you can see, the performance is below 50 and it's about a 49. So I think that's actually very low for a WordPress website, or even for a generic website. So now what I'm going to do is, I'm going to activate this plugin. I've already configured it. I'm just deactivated that to show you how it actually improved my website. So if I click on activate, so now wait for 5 minutes or so, and I will rerun this page speed report to let you know how it actually improved that. Okay, so let me confirm that all those settings that I've already configured for it is actually configured correctly. So I'm going to the settings part. Cache is already enabled, so CDN is already enabled, and there you go. The add-on of Cloudflare is already enabled. Media, okay, so everything is enabled that as expected, because I have just deactivated it to show you the difference it actually makes on my WordPress blog. And now what I'm going to do is, I'm going to click on analyze now. As you can see, so it give me a report. As you can see, the report is about 92. So from the 49 to 92 is a massive difference, right? As you can see, my performances has been increased to 92, accessibility is 88, best practice is increased to 92, and SEO obviously it was 100 before, and now it's also 100. And if we click on the desktop, it's close to 100. Yeah, so if you want to improve that, what you need to do is go to the link in the description box and click on the WP Rocket plugin, get plugin, and there you need to sign up for this account and download the plugin. I assure you, it's worth every penny of yours to invest in this particular plugin. So now moving forward to here. So if we click on the dashboard, it will give you the overview of your licenses. And if we go to the cache, you need to enable the cache first. Okay, and in the first setting, you need to enable a cache. Just enable for the mobile devices. I don't recommend you to click on a separate cache for mobile devices, because it may impact on your speed. Because if you're using a separate theme for mobile devices, then you should click that, like AMP or stuff. But if you don't, if you're using a responsive theme, then you should not enable that. Just stay away from it. Okay, so this is users cache. So if you have a multiple login system, multiple or member site, or multiple WordPress member site, then you should click on this. And what is cache and what it does? First, enter your website, then it saves those static content of your website to their cache system, and if they come again, then it will load way faster. Okay, because the static content is already there, and if we come again, and those static content will be loaded instantly. Only the dynamic content, like your post, will be able to operate dynamically. So that's the difference that cache makes. So user cache is this. So now you can set cache lifespan. So I entered it to 10 hours because that's the standard lifespan. So you should do that also. Even if you make any changes, it will be reflected on those which the saved cache will be in between 10 hours. So I think 10 hours is enough for it. So now moving forward to your static files. So static files are your HTML, whole HTML obviously, and there is a CSS and there is a JS files. CSS is responsible for all the styling you see on the page on the front end. JS is all about the behavior. For example, if I go to the blog section of my website here, the CSS is all about the styling, the containers here. There is heading styling and there is a hyperlink styling, okay, the hover styling, okay. And now what is all about the JS is all about the behavior. Like if I click something on this and if it load to me, it's all about the JS or a application which I use for this. Okay, as you can see, the ads here is all about the JS. So that's the statics file which will be there obviously, and you can use or optimize that. The first way to optimize is to minify it. Okay, minification is actually very important. It deletes all those spaces in it, so it will help that file to be in low size, and it will help your page size reduce to minimum from 10% to maximum of 50%. Yes, so you can start doing the minify CSS with the in single click. You can just click on this minify CSS here, okay, and you can also combine CSS files. Okay, so if you're using multiple CSS files on your theme, you can combine them into one, which reduce all those HTTP requests. Yes, as we have done earlier about the CSS sprites, where we use the CSS sprites to eradicate all those multiple HTTP requests, which is also the important factor in Core Web Vital. So you can combine all those CSS file differences into one, which can eradicate all those multiple HTTP requests to one. So as you can see, the combine merge all your files into one, reducing HTTP request. So you should start combining them. Okay, so next is you should optimize CSS delivery. Optimize CSS delivery will delete or reduce all those render blocking resources. Okay, if you have a CSS file, obviously on the main page it may be using 50% of it. Okay, as I click on inspect element here, now I will click on control plus shift plus P, and we'll enable show coverage tab. So here is the coverage. If we load that out again, so as you can see, there is total bytes which is around 300 and something KB, and unused byte is 292. So for that unused byte, what it's going to do is it will block that resources and only render critical resources. Yes, so that's how you can optimize CSS delivery. And here it is the next part, which is remove unused CSS, which is also the same as optimize delivery, but what it does is it will render the CSS as inline CSS, only that applicable to that particular page. For example, if I click on the view page source, as you can see, there is the style code here, which is the inline CSS. What it does is it will extract all those critical CSS and put that into inline, such that it will save in page sizes, and that's how you can easily remove unused CSS to improve your page loading speed. So that's about the CSS part. And now we are moving forward to JavaScript. So for the JavaScript, what you can do is, as we have already done, this minify CSS, and there's a minify JS, and it will delete all the white spaces and comments from the JS file, and it will reduce your size massively. Yes, so we have already done this in the past in all those videos of Core Web Vitals. You can start watching that. And there's a combined JavaScript. I don't really recommend that because it may get, or I would say it may get your website crash, because you may be using third-party JS files, right? For that JS, it may be getting the data dynamically from their servers. So that's way. So in that sense, it will not work and may lead your website to crash. So what you can do is you can exclude those JavaScript here. Like if you are using from Google Manager, Tag Manager, you can exclude that here, such that it will not crash your website. But I suggest you to stay away from it, because if you are not sure about this, then you should stay away from it. So if you want to create a video on this as an advanced user, you can just request that in the comment box, but I don't think you'll be needing that. Okay, so load JavaScript deferred. So load JavaScript, you should enable that because it deferred eliminate render blocking JS on your site and can improve your load time. So what it does is it will let the static content to load, and then your JavaScript will be loaded. Okay, so that way your first paint will improve. So all those render blocking JS will be deferred to the last. Okay, so you should start enabling that. And there is a delay JavaScript execution. Obviously, if someone is visiting your website like this, and obviously they need to see the interface. So this is the front end that user will see, and then when they click on it, then all those JavaScript function will come into force. So that's why we should delay JavaScript execution to the last after the page load, such that it will affect or improve the user experience, or I would say the page experience, as well as loading time. So check all this, click on the save changes, and you will be good to go. So this is all about the static content on your website. And now we are moving forward to the media part. There are different types of media you'll be using on your blog. There will be videos, there will be images, and for that part there will be embeds also. And for that part you can optimize that with the help of WP Rocket. How? Here is the lazy load. Okay, so lazy load I've already done using lazy load with the help of lazy sizes, which is the plugin from the Google. And if you haven't watched that, do watch that because it also works like a charm. And now in this is a lazy load. What it does is it can improve your loading of your images after your page loads, and there your media start gets loaded. For example, if I go to any of my pages here, like going to this particular blog, and if I there, you will see the white here. After that it will get load. It will only get load when you mouse over it, or your screen will load it like this. If you go to this, all this lazy load is in effect. So that's how you should apply that to keep your website way faster for the users and improve your page experience to the users. And now here is enable for iframes and videos. Yes, you should enable that for the iframes, because you may be using iframe from the Google, or maybe from the Vimeo or Dailymotion, or maybe using your own iframe from the different third-party apps. Then you should start adding enable for the iframes and video. And now there's an add-on option which is replace YouTube iframe with the preview image. So how does it work? Let me guide you through it. Okay, let me just go to the blog section. Now in this blog I have a video here. Okay, as you can see there is a video. So whenever your blog get loaded or your page get loaded, it will only show a preview image with a mouse over effect that gives an idea to the end user that it's a video, not just an preview image. And for that part, if I right click on it, it says open image in the new tab. If I click on it, as you can see, it only displays the overview image. So that's the best part of it. As you know, iframe gets loaded and it can impact negatively on your code web vitals and or as well as your loading time. So for that part you can easily replace that with the preview image, as you can see here. But if I click on it, as you can see, the iframe gets loaded like this. So the iframe get loaded. So that's how you can use this option to increase your web page loading speed. So you can also exclude images or iframes like here. If you don't want something to get lazy loaded, then you can just add here. So here is the image dimensions. Add missing image dimension, which can actually prevent layout shift. So there is a CLS option here. If I go to here, as you can see, there is the past audits. Let me go to the past audits here. As you can, if I scroll down to, there's the past audit. If I go to the past audit, as you can see, there is an element that is, there's the issue of a CLS. You can see cumulative layout shift. There's the image elements have explicit height and width. So that's what it does. It will add the missing dimensions so that those error will be eradicated. So there you go. And there is embeds, disable WordPress embeds. So you should start disabling it, because it's also the security issue, but also it stop embedding from your site to the third party. If third party is using embedding from your website, it can hamper the loading speed, so you should start disabling WordPress embed. That's also the one of the main core features of WP Rocket. So now we have done the cache part, we have done the file optimization, which is static, and now we have done the media part. Now we are going into the advanced section, which will be the core web vital. And now we are moving forward the preloading. Okay, so there is a preload. Also, there is a preload cache. Let me tell you a little bit about the preload. So if I go to the website here, right, and there is certain element, or there may be a certain fonts you want it to be preloaded first. So loaded and the preloaded. Preload means it should be loaded at the priority. Okay, it shouldn't be loaded at the last like a deferred JavaScript or something. It should be loaded pre, that means it should be at the priority basis. So if I go to the view page source of my blog, there may be some element that has the preloaded or pre-connected. And if I go to here, search for pre, okay, and you will see the preloaded styles are there, which is the font. So preloaded font should be important, because before getting the first pen, though, your font should start loading if you are using a custom fonts, obviously. So I'm using a Google font. As you can see, I have added a relative tag to preload because I want to load that first and then the later part. So that's how you should start active preloading. And now you have a preload cache, which actually put that into the local machine of that user. That user visits again, and it will be work like charm and super fast. So there is the rank math XML sitemap. You can also preload that, because obviously there's a bot that visiting your page, and for that part, to improve your search engine of presence, you can activate the rank math XML sitemap. And there is the activate sitemap based cache preloading. You should enable that. So there is the sitemaps for preloading. If you're using a Yoast plugin or some other WordPress plugin for the SEO, so you should start adding sitemap for that. So here's the preload link. So you should start preloading links, and why it does it matter. So for example, you may be using CDN for your website, and like here I'm using CDN from Rocket CDN, and there is, you can see the CNAME, and what is that is my CDN URL starts with this, and then all those content lined up. So what I can do is I can preload this link, and to tell the scraper or a search engine bot that this particular URL will be often included in my content, and such that it should be preloaded first. And for that part, we should enable that here. If we click on the view page source here, and as you can see, DNS prefetch is this is also the part of the preload. So that's how you can easily preload or pre-connect those resources with the help of this plugin. So if we go to the preload and go to the preload links, and there is a preload DNS fetch, which I talk about. So DNS fetch, why it does is because it is my CDN provider, and for the DNS prefetch, it will help the bot to prefetch that particular URL, and afterwards it will start loading that links that uses this particular DNS. So there is the fonts.isstatic.com, which is the pre-connected, that what I have already told you earlier. So there's also pre-connected of the same URL. And if we see the rest, as you can see, this particular URL has been used in so many times, like here. So if you're using any CDN, you should start preloading it. And there is a preload fonts, which I've already told you. And now moving forward to the advanced rules. So here is an advanced rule. I don't recommend you to touch that if you're not an advanced user or have a basic understanding, or even I don't say the basic. If you don't have any understanding of it, then you should leave that. Here is the never cache URLs, never cache cookies. I will make a video on this if you request me, because it is also something which you can add on to it, or I will say add on functionality to it to keep your website faster. For like here, never cache user agents. You can use a user agent from the Safari mobile, and you can use them as a never cache. Don't cache that particular user agent. You can do that here. So that's based on your preferences. So there is a database. Now we have done all the static content, we have done the media part, and we have preloaded everything, and now we are going to optimize our database. So database is all about the cleanup in this particular plugin. Like if you have created revision of post. Like here, as you can see, all those revisions you create of your post, like if you have edited something on your post, it gets saved in the database. And to improve your database queries or media queries, then you should clean up time to time. Like if you don't need different version of your post, then you start deleting that revisions from here. And I have deleted it, but I will click on save changes and optimize. It will all be deleted. As you can see, there's the auto draft, trashed post, and there's the comment cleanup. Okay, if you have a trashed comments, then you can delete that single click. And there's a transients cleanup, like expired transients are a temporary option, which is the temporary, they are safe to remove and they will automatically regenerate as your plugin requires them. So you can delete expired transients. And there is a database cleanup. You can also optimize database. So I don't think there is any tables to improve, so you can also click that and it will start optimizing it for you, but it actually impacts positively on your website's page speed. So that's about the database. So we have covered each and everything about the core, your website part, the CSS part, the media part, and now we have covered the database. Now there's a section of add-ons. Okay, and now there's a section which is optional, if you want to integrate that or not. So I suggest you to, if you don't want to use CDN, then just skip that part, you are done by now. So here is the CDN. So now if you want to use the CDN, I suggest you to use CDN because it massively improve your page speed, also improve page experience. Obviously if your website loading speed is faster, then your page experience will be good, obviously. So here is the CDN. I personally use CDN for my WordPress blog from the WP Rocket because it integrates seamlessly. Like here, it has integrated the CDN. I've enabled that, and after I bought it, I type the CNAME here. And if you use CDN from specific provider like bunny.net, you can easily integrate that here, and you can clear all those CDN files from here. But obviously it will clear Rocket CDN only files because it is integrated into this particular WordPress plugin. So if you want to buy this plugin, you should it. If you want to test that out, you should sign up for that. You will find the link in the description box, and after you find it, you will get your CNAME like here. And if I go to the profile here and go to the WP Rocket here, and after the successful sign up, which is almost $7 per month, so it will be unlimited bandwidth, unlimited storage, so you don't need to pay as you go like on bunny.net if you have a large website. So you should opt for this particular plan, which is $7 per month. You will get the 2 minutes extra if you go to annual, which is around $79, which will be for the 14 months. So it's a value for money. You should opt that add-on. It saves a lot of headache of your website. So I have configured it and saved it. As you can see in the page shows, there is a plugin, or I would say there's a URL starting with the Rocket CDN, and all those files has been hosted on this particular CDN. Even if the files, static files, CSS and JS files, images, web piece, everything on Rocket CDN, it helps to improve my speed a lot better. So now we are going to the heartbeat. Heartbeat is control heartbeat. If you have a heavy website and if you want to control the heartbeat, like some reducing or disabling heartbeat APIs activity can help save some of your server resources. So it can help you if your website has thousands of visitors daily, then it can control that heartbeat, provide more static content or more from the CDN than your server end. So it has a complex algorithm you don't need to know, but just click on control heartbeat. If something crashes, then you can obviously deselect that. So there is, if you get your site bloated and heavy, then you can use this reduce activity as the back end, or reduce in the post editor, or reduce in the front end. So that's how you can do it. So now we have covered each and everything, and now you are good to go. But if you want to add more security, you can use add-on, and you can add security to it, you can add Cloudflare to it, you can add Varnish to it. So you can add all these add-ons to your WP Rocket to improve your WordPress website as a security. So you can use this add-on easily. Here you can modify the option. If you click on the modify option, you have to integrate with the global key of your Cloudflare account, email, and zone IDs. And now there's the tools you can use if you are moving a website. You can export the settings, you can import the settings if you have already moved it, and there's a rollback. You can roll back some version, because if it's not working for you, you can roll back and reinstall that particular version. So there's a tutorial database where you can just watch and learn how to actually improve core web vital on your website. So that's everything about WP Rocket and how you can use WP Rocket to improve your core web vitals. So I think that it's the best cache plugin out there. You don't need any other plugin to optimize your static files, to optimize your images, to optimize your videos, iframes, or even optimize your database. You have everything in one place. If you have learned something from this video, do click on the like button. If you want to watch more videos from our channel, click the red button. If you want to share this to your colleague, friend, or social media handlers, then use the share button. So see you in the next video. Until then, bye bye.